Hi, it's Frank, and today we're going to be covering the Missouri Class E Study Guide. The Missouri Class E license is a specialized license required for operating a vehicle used to transport passengers for hire, such as a taxi, shuttle, or livery vehicle, when that vehicle is designed to carry 15 passengers or less. The test focuses on general driving knowledge combined with specific passenger safety regulations and Missouri state law. Let's get straight into the questions. What is the primary purpose of the Missouri Class E license? To drive a taxi, shuttle, or livery vehicle designed to transport 15 passengers or less. This classification ensures drivers of for-hire passenger vehicles meet specific safety standards. Let's continue. How long is the initial provisional period for a minor who is issued a Missouri driver's license? 1 year. The provisional license is the first step in the graduated licensing program for minors. Moving on. According to Missouri law, what must a driver do when an emergency vehicle with lights sirens approaches? Pull over immediately to the right edge of the roadway and stop. This grants the right of way to emergency vehicles. Time for the next question. What is the maximum speed limit in urban areas in Missouri unless otherwise posted? 30 miles per hour. This is the standard unmarked speed limit in municipal and residential areas. Next up, what is the move over law requirement in Missouri when approaching a stationary emergency vehicle? Move to an adjacent lane away from the emergency vehicle or slow down. This protects law enforcement and emergency personnel working on the side of the road. Let's continue. What is the penalty for a Missouri driver who refuses to submit to an alcohol or drug test? Implied consent. The license will be immediately suspended for 1 year. Refusal results in an automatic immediate license suspension. Moving on. When driving a Class E vehicle, what is the maximum speed limit on a Missouri interstate in a rural area? 70 miles per hour. This is the maximum posted speed limit on rural interstate highways. Time for the next question. When must headlights be used in Missouri? Between a half hour after sunset and a half hour before sunrise, and anytime visibility is limited. This ensures the vehicle is visible during low light conditions. Next up, what is the required blood alcohol content BAC for a driver aged 21 or older to be considered legally intoxicated in Missouri? 0.08%. Driving with a BAC at or above this level is illegal for drivers 21 and older. Let's continue. What must a driver do when making a right turn on red in Missouri? Come to a complete stop, yield to pedestrians and traffic, and proceed only when safe. The same rules apply as an intersection stop before proceeding on red. Moving on. What is the minimum legal following distance rule in Missouri? In seconds. 3 seconds. This provides a minimum safe stopping distance under normal driving conditions. Time for the next question. How many days does a Missouri resident have to register a vehicle after establishing residency? 30 days. New residents must register their vehicle in Missouri within 30 days. Next up, what is the legal requirement for a driver's seatbelt? The driver and all front seat passengers must wear a seatbelt. Seatbelt use is mandatory for the driver and any front seat passenger. Let's continue. When driving a passenger vehicle in Missouri, when is passing on the right side permissible? When the vehicle being overtaken is making a left turn and there is adequate pavement width. Passing on the right is only allowed under specific conditions, primarily when the other vehicle is turning left. Moving on. What is the primary purpose of the Class E vehicle inspection beyond the standard pre-trip? To ensure all safety equipment, fire extinguisher, and first aid kit are present and accessible. Class E vehicles must carry extra safety equipment due to their role in transporting passengers for hire. Time for the next question. If involved in an accident in Missouri, what is the first action a driver should take? Stop immediately, assist any injured persons, and protect the scene. The first priorities are stopping and assisting those who are hurt. Next up, what does a flashing red light at an intersection mean? The same as a stop sign. Stop completely and proceed when safe. A flashing red light requires a complete stop and right-of-way check. Let's continue. When driving in a roundabout in Missouri, which direction should you yield to traffic? Yield to traffic already in the roundabout from the left. Traffic already in the circle has the right-of-way. Moving on. What is the minimum distance required to signal your intention before making a turn in Missouri? At least 100 feet. A signal must be given well in advance to warn other drivers. Time for the next question. When transporting passengers for hire Class E, what must be kept clean and visible at all times? All windows, mirrors, and lights. Visibility is critical for safe passenger operations, especially in stop-and-go city traffic. Next up, when parallel parking on a public road, how far must the wheels be from the curb? Within 18 inches. This is the standard maximum distance from the curb when parallel parking. Let's continue. What is the maximum distance you can drive in a center turn lane in Missouri before making your turn? You must not drive or travel in the center turn lane. The lane is only for vehicles preparing to turn left. Moving on. What is the prima facie speed limit for a school zone during the recess or student passing hours? 20 miles per hour. This reduced speed limit is enforced when children are present. Time for the next question. What should a Class E driver do if a passenger becomes verbally aggressive or disorderly? Pull over to a safe, well-lit location, secure the vehicle, and contact dispatch or authorities. The driver must prioritize safe operation of the vehicle and securing the passenger's safety. Next up, how many points are generally assessed against a Missouri driving record for a minor speeding ticket? 2 points. Points are assessed for moving violations and contribute toward license suspension. Let's continue. What is the required minimum liability insurance coverage for property damage in Missouri? $25,000. Missouri requires drivers to carry this minimum coverage for property damage per accident. Moving on, what does a flashing yellow light at an intersection mean? Proceed with caution, slow down, and be prepared to stop. This warns drivers of a potential hazard or unusual condition ahead. Time for the next question. In Missouri, when must you reduce your speed due to a work zone? When workers are present and signs indicate a reduced speed limit. Speed must be reduced in marked work zones when workers are present to ensure their safety. Next up, what is the penalty for failing to comply with the move over law in Missouri? A fine and points assessed to the driving record. Violation of the move over law carries both a financial and administrative penalty. Let's continue. What should a driver do if they encounter wildlife on the roadway? Brake carefully, remain in the lane if safe, and do not swerve suddenly. Swerving can cause a loss of control and an accident with another vehicle, which is often more dangerous than hitting the animal. Moving on. What is the primary purpose of having a separate compartment for luggage in a Class E vehicle? To ensure that all aisles and emergency exits remain clear and unobstructed. This is a critical safety measure for passenger vehicles. Time for the next question. When driving on a two-lane road, what should you do when another vehicle begins to pass you? Maintain your speed and lane position or slightly reduce speed to allow them to pass safely. You should never speed up when another vehicle is attempting to pass. Next up, what is the maximum distance a vehicle may travel in a two-way left turn lane before making a turn? You must not travel in the lane. It is for turns only. The lane is only for use immediately before making a turn. Let's continue. What is the rule regarding portable music players, e.g. cell phones, for drivers under the age of 21 in Missouri? They are prohibited from using or attempting to use them while driving. Missouri restricts the use of all electronic communication devices for younger drivers. Moving on. What is the safest way to correct a vehicle skid? Steer gently in the direction you want the vehicle to go and take your foot off the accelerator. This allows the tires to regain traction without increasing the skid. Time for the next question. What does a yellow painted curb usually indicate? Loading zone or other restricted parking zone? Yellow curbs usually indicate a temporary stop or loading area, with parking often prohibited. Next up, when must a driver stop for a stop school bus with flashing red lights and the stop arm extended? Always, unless on a divided highway with a barrier. Stopping is mandatory on all two-lane roads and unpaved four-lane roads. Let's continue. What should a driver do if they miss their intended turn or exit? Continue to the next safe turn or exit and reroute. It is safer to proceed than to stop or back up suddenly. Moving on. What is the main danger of driving over the center line when rounding a curve, hitting an oncoming vehicle that may be hidden from view? Curves limit visibility, making it essential to stay in your lane. Time for the next question. What must a Class E driver verify regarding their vehicle's horn? It must be loud enough to be heard, but not used to express anger or displeasure. The horn is a safety warning device and should only be used to prevent accidents. Next up, what is the Missouri law concerning handheld cell phone use for drivers over the age of 21? It is permitted, but distracted driving is still a violation. While not specifically banned for adults, general distracted driving laws apply. Let's continue. What is the maximum penalty for a first-time conviction of driving without proper insurance in Missouri? A fine, license suspension, and possible jail time. Penalties for uninsured driving are severe in Missouri. Moving on. Where must the vehicle registration certificate be kept? In the vehicle and available for inspection. The registration must be accessible to the driver and presented upon request by law enforcement. Time for the next question. What is the safest way to change lanes? Check mirrors, signal intention, check blind spots, head check, and move over smoothly. Following these steps ensures the maneuver is completed safely. Next up, when can a vehicle park in a designated disabled parking space? Only if the vehicle displays a valid disability placard or license plate and the person is present. These spaces are strictly reserved for drivers or passengers with disabilities. Let's continue. If you're driving on a wet road, how should your following distance compare to driving on a dry road? It should be at least double, 6 seconds minimum. Wet roads reduce traction, requiring significantly more distance to stop safely. Moving on. What does a solid yellow line on your side of the roadway indicate? Passing is prohibited in your direction. The solid line is a clear indicator that it is unsafe and illegal to cross the pass. Time for the next question. When driving a vehicle for hire, what is the key to ensuring passenger safety during boarding and exiting? Stopping the vehicle completely, setting the parking brake, and using the proper designated stop area. Securing the vehicle prevents movement and injury during passenger transitions. Next up, what should a Class E driver do if they suspect a passenger has left an item in the vehicle? Immediately notify dispatch or the company manager to secure and report the lost item. Lost items must be secured and reported immediately following company protocol. Let's continue. What is the primary Missouri requirement for a Class E vehicle's tires? The tires must be in safe operating condition with no exposed cords or serious cuts. Tire safety is a fundamental requirement for all vehicles, especially those transporting passengers for hire. That wraps up our practice session for the Missouri Class E Study Guide. Keep reviewing this material, and you'll be ready for your test.